Hi guys, welcome to Rufus and Doofus. Chico here. Today we're working on another one of our little problems, and that is to repair our non-working hot water heater. And I've already diagnosed the problem and made the repair, but I just want to go over how I found it and what I did to fix it. So put on your overalls, we're going in. Okay guys, here's the access door open to our Atwood water heater, and it turned out in my instance to be a bad circuit board, which is here, and this is the new circuit board, and this is the old circuit board. If you're looking for information on the repair and test points for the Atwood water heater, you can go to the Atwood site, and they have a area for troubleshooting which encompasses all of their heater models. And I found mine and downloaded the sheets and put them into my little book that I'm starting with all the components and things about this RV, and I was able to take readings to find out what was going on. So basically, in a nutshell, we've got our brown wire, our green wire, and our blue wire, and these wires supply power and switching from the switch which is located inside of the coach. In my instance, when I turned on the switch, I was not getting a light, I was not getting anything. It almost seemed as though I was getting no power out here. But with the troubleshooting manual and the test points, I was able to take my test leads and put them into the slots here and take voltage readings. And at that point I determined that my power was coming into the board and my ground wire was in fact good and ground, but nothing was happening. So at that point I checked this one-time fuse here, which is open if it is opened if the unit goes above 190 degrees Fahrenheit. A really easy way to check that is to pull this right out of circuit and take the one lead, eliminate the fuse, and go right to the contact down here. Nothing was happening. I did check the fuse for continuity. It was good, so that wasn't the problem. I checked power to the solenoids. I was not getting any power to the solenoids, and I was not getting a spark, so I was not getting gas or spark. After a lot of checking and double checking and rechecking, I determined that the circuit board had to be the problem. And here is the old one, and you'll notice that there's a relay on the board here. This is where the igniter plugs into, but this relay was not broken when I took it out. What I did was, knowing that this board was no good, or suspecting that it was no good and nothing was happening when I was actuating the switch, I tapped on here. My initial intent was to see if that relay may have frozen up. I tapped it a little too hard. What can I tell you? I had spinach that morning, and I cracked the case. Well, I used that to my advantage. I put it back in, hooked it up to the terminals, and manually operated this relay by pushing down on it. Determined was, when I did it manually, was that my gas solenoids opened up, but I was still not getting a spark. But that was good enough for me to tell me that internally there was nothing happening in this board. So another thing I wanted to mention when you're doing your testing, right here on here there's a connector board, and it's got little contacts on it, and what you want to make sure is that those are clean. You want to make sure those are very clean. So you use an eraser, clean them up, make sure that your plug here, all the contacts are making good contact with that board. So one of the first things you want to do, matter of fact, before you even troubleshoot it, I would suggest doing that. Didn't help me in my case. The part number to this board is MPB 93257. I could not find an exact replacement, but it told me that 93257, the MPD, was replaced by a newer board, and that's it right here. They're basically identical. If you can see, everything's laid out pretty much the same. Got a little bit of a transformer of some sort here, a little coil loaded thing, and everything is in this epoxy. The relay is located a little higher, but they put a fuse in, and there's a fuse right here, 2 amps. Not really sure what it does yet, and I hope I don't have to find out. But to make a long story short, I put the new board in as just fits right over the other hole, so there was no problem there. I made all my connections, plugged in the unit, made sure all of these were connected properly, and went to turn on the switch inside the motorhome. The switch immediately gave me a red light telling me that it was operating. And what happens is if it doesn't ignite, it's going to turn on a red light again. So that's the signal that something is wrong. Well, I turned it on, I got my red light, I came out here, I could hear my solenoids actuating for the gas, for the propane. It was letting propane through, I could smell it in the exhaust. So I was still not getting a spark. Now, I've had new components be bad right out of the box before, but I just didn't want to automatically assume that. So what I did is I dismantled this whole piece here, which is the burner assembly right here that goes inside, and there's the igniter thingamajigger right here, which plugs into the board. I was getting no spark. The only ground and you need a ground here. This is your positive coming in, high voltage, and this is your ground, which lets it spark across the electrodes. And what I did was I took this all apart and sanded smooth the places where it made contact, including where it mounts onto the inside of the burner assembly. I wanted to make sure I had a good ground, and I'm glad I did that, because after sanding these, putting them back together, I put a little WD-40 on there, which is a good contact lubricant. And as soon as I put this back together and I went to turn on the heater, the red light came on as it should, and then it stayed off. I came outside and my burner was working perfectly. So not a very easy fix, but if you're persistent, you can find it. Don't automatically assume this board is bad. More than likely these contacts will be bad. In my case, the board was bad. Make sure that you don't have any cracks on the porcelain around the igniter. Make sure your solenoids are actuating here. If you don't have any action at all, make sure you've got power coming in and you've got a good ground right here. This ground wire goes inside. It's actually crimped to the other ground wire, and it just mounts on the top of the circuit board. So those are the things you want to remember. Make sure you check this over temp limit fuse here. That does not reset. So once it's bad, it's bad. I'm thinking about ordering a spare just in case, and double check all your connections here. And as I said, if you order the proper manual, you will get the troubleshooting guide along with it. And I have to say it was pretty good. It was very well written, and they did cover most of all the bases. So don't forget to download that beforehand. I would keep a copy of that handy, and make sure you get your right model number. Mine was a little tough to read. I'm going to clean this all up now. And mine does not have an electric element in it, and there's also no anode rod, and so this only works off of propane. That's the only way I'm going to get hot water, is off my propane. Normally the ones with electric, they'll have an area here where the element goes in, and I'm kind of surprised that this one doesn't have an anode bar in it, which keeps the sediment from eating up the inside of the tank. And I don't see that here. There's a flush here when you want to flush everything out and clean it, which I am going to do. Gas supply, pretty self-explanatory. If by chance your heater is really shot, you have a water leak and everything else, I did research the price on these. I did find one on eBay for the entire unit was about $382 for the entire unit. Mind you, the board was $130. Okay, so you know, not a big difference there if you're having a real problem with leaks or whatever. This whole thing comes right out all the way around. It's either going to be screwed or riveted. If it's riveted, you're going to have to drill them out. In my case, I could have screwed it out, but hey, guess what? 130 is better than 380, so I was fortunate. But Real important. If you do change your board, just make sure all your grounds are good for the spark. Your solenoids should operate. If they don't, this can be taken apart, but I really don't think there's any need to. I mean, I can't see why those would freeze up. They're pretty well sealed. So that's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. Plenty more to do. Take care, and have a wonderful day. Bye.